Amiri.
Hi, my name is Amiri.
And we are the authors of The Boy with Two Hearts, and we are at National Theatre. Come and see our show. It's on till 12th of November.
Where it all started was, I think, once our older brother passed away, we both looked at each other, we need to tell his story, because we got so many messages on Facebook of people telling him all the amazing stuff that it's hard to explain to mum and dad. So let's somehow try to turn this to a book. And I have no idea why we said a book at the start, but we were like, let's just write it down because we might forget it. And it was a good distraction for both of us and for everyone, because we had a weird name for it. We called it Project X or Project Y. So our dad were like, oh, what's happening with Project Y and Project X? This was before we ever thought it will get to where it is today, but we were just let's write something and keep everyone updated and what's going on with it. That's what I...
Yeah, I think we just felt the need to capture who he was and the way he lived his life. And I don't know why we decided it's going to be a book. We start writing, and then I think weirdly it was easy because it was just reliving moments, the goods and the bads. I, for some reason, said to myself, if this is going to benefit someone else by reading this, understanding what the story of Refugee is, but also a family, love, my brother, what we never imagine is the book actually gets published during COVID, becomes BBC4 Book of the Week. Somehow we pitched a book to a theatre in Cardiff, sold out last year, and now we're sitting at National Theatre, and it's on for another 5 weeks. And it's just, I think I used the word rismat, because for us, the faith and deen is very important. That got us through the really, really difficult few months. And we said, look, we're doing this for our brother, for our mum and dad, and somehow doors have opened up. That's how I would describe it. I think someone said to me, how do you do this and have a full-time job? And I always say, well, look, this is very personal to me. I'm doing this for my brother. I think that just opened something that was there, and I've never used it or never knew I had it. And I think someone said to me, the words are coming from your heart. And so I think once I decided I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it in true form, I think it kind of just flew out. How we've managed to turn into a play, I have no idea. I ask myself every day. I don't know if you know.
No, but I think it is, once you have passion for something you truly love, you'll find time for it no matter what, because we never see this as a job. We see this something, it's like our life story. We're trying to achieve something for our parents, for everyone else, for the future generations. But I also think we fell in love with the world of creative theatre. We were there from rehearsals to the first scripts, the second scripts. We were backstage. We were looking at the script. We're like, oh, let's change this. Let's add this lighting effect. Let's add the sounds. I think we truly fell in love with the whole process, because it was magical to see it come to a stage.
For me, the first time I watched it, let's just say in National Theatre, and someone said to me, why do you want to come and watch every show? When we lost our older brother Hussein, I never felt I could feel his cheekiness, his laughter, his emotion, his essence, but I do on a stage. So it's really hard for me to watch. I cry, I'm not gonna lie, but I physically see the whole family again. I see his jokes, I feel his essence, and to me, that's what it makes me feel, a chance to see it, but also with total strangers behind me and around me, laughing and crying, and I'm saying to myself, we've done the impossible. We've brought a true Muslim authentic story at National Theatre, and what I'd love is people to realise it is doable.
Yeah, I think, it's not easy. We've been to, at least throughout the past 2 years, 40 or 50 shows and seen it 100 times. And every time we both do cry. But I think it's, once we see it, we sort of see ourselves like reliving life. If there was ever like a CCTV you could watch of your whole life, it's like that for us. So we get that sort of amazing feeling that we're like, oh wow, it was so amazing when we were all together, having a laugh, playing around, making fun of each other and all of that. But yeah, it's still very hard to watch it. I'll never forget the first time we watched it in a room like this with no lighting effect and nothing. And all the cast were like, you're going to see it to the end. And we both said, if it gets too much, we'll put our shades on because we don't want the actors to all of a sudden like break character and see us crying. And I think 3/4 or halfway through, everyone saw us put our shades on, and like the whole team knew that we were gone emotionally and crying. And they were there with us too, and it was kind of a bizarre moment when the actors came down. They're like, we saw that you were emotionally with her, but we know how much this means to you. So it's kind of special. I think the people who played both of us, we saw them during the first rehearsal or first draft of it. And we sort of knew that they're Afghan boys, they're Muslims, and they have their own refugee stories. So there was a lot of connections already. And then the way they talked, and then the way they believed in the story, I think we both straight away went, these guys can play us. And then eventually, because we've seen them at least 1,000 times by now, we start to notice that they are becoming like us and we're becoming like them. It's like
which is scary.
Yeah, like we have to tell them, we're like going, you're not playing Hamid, you're not playing Hassam, you're you. And it was amazing to see it, because it's almost like watching yourself. So then whenever Hamid's character was doing something, I'm going, see, he's following you. So he's picking up your bad habits now. But yeah, it was bizarre and amazing to see.
I think the bit that for me and for them helped is I get to see a younger version. You kind of want to reflect, but on the stage. For them, they had the chance to ask me and Hassam, well, what happened before this? You know, why did you act this way? What were you feeling? And we could say, well, you know, we were scared, we were confused, we were quiet. This is why. So it helped them to kind of process the scenes, and weirdly for us, it gets a chance to kind of look back and say, wow, was I actually like that? And at times that wasn't a good reflection to look back saying, wow, I was really, really naughty when I was younger. But it's just been a blissful experience.
Family is the key of it, and I think sometimes when you're a bit younger, when I was younger, sometimes you don't appreciate, as in like who's here today and what's happening tomorrow. So I think, I know a lot of people who came to the show, they're like, oh, I have to ring my parents and just say how you're doing, which is kind of bizarre because that show or theatre made them go, I need to just say thank you for everything. And I think that's what we try to be like, remember like your whole family at all times.
Yes, it's a story of family and refugee from Afghanistan to UK that took 18 months, and a race against time for Hussein to get the medical attention that he needs in UK. But the backdrop, I think, is just a story of family and love, of how 5 people, me, Hassam, Hussein, and mum and dad, through thick and thin, through the darkest moments, stuck together. And I want people to kind of realize, live your life to the fullest, but help others along the way, and appreciate family, because you never know what tomorrow lies ahead. That'd be my message.